tried, bro. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they tried. Roman, if they were Democrats, would you become a Republican? If it was Iger and Kennedy, would you vote against them compared to Vance? Like if it's
No.
Vance and somebody else, and then Iger and Kennedy, you'd vote for Bob Iger and Kennedy for president?
No. Nope. I wouldn't vote
It's
for
been
either of them.
reported for a long time that Iger wants the White
You know what?
House.
Yeah, Iger wants the White House.
I wouldn't vote for either of them.
I think
Okay,
though,
so it's Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy versus, J.D. Vance and somebody else. Who you voting for?
I'm putting the gun to my head and killing myself. In Minecraft.
You can't say that on fucking YouTube, dude. Shut the Jesus Christ.
I said in Minecraft. I said it in Minecraft.
No, you have to answer the question. Answer the question in good faith. You'd rather vote for Bob Iger as president, seeing the way that he ran a company.
I'd vote for a third party.
No, you don't have that option in this scenario. This is hypothetical.
That I'm not voting.
Okay, then you're not voting. So Roman's not voting then. Or are you voting? Okay, it's JD Vance and some other person.
In your scenario, though, do I have to vote? In your scenario,
yes.
Do I have to vote?
You have to vote.
All right, then. I vote for Bob Iger. Screw it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You want the guy that ran Disney into the ground.
I don't like him.
I don't like any politician except for the ones that I know personally, which I do know quite a few, which I won't say who I know because I won't say that on live. But
didn't you have a friend that joined one of your streams?
I don't think we had anybody that was political that joined one of our streams.
Yeah, not political.
We have political friends, but I don't think anybody that was political actually joined our stream. No. Might have had somebody that talked political.
But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, that's my honest answer. If you want my honest answer.
So you're voting for Bob Iger, who ran Disney into the ground.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not even in the slightest, homie.
Nobody else here has anything to say about that. Really?
I mean, bro.
I'm the only person that's going to push back against this just to have a conversation. Nobody else here has anything else to say, really, on the panel?
I mean,
I don't particularly have anything to say on it because, I mean, what the fuck is there to say? Do we even know that he's planning on running for the fucking presidency?
Yeah, he's been saying it for years.
Okay, well, Vermin Supreme has been talking about a lot of bullshit too for years.
True.
I don't think he's running anymore.
Hypothetical here.
Everyone for years talks about their New Year's resolutions and losing weight, and they're still fat bitches. So
that's why I don't make them.
So the other option was it's either Bob Iger and who the fuck was it? Who were we just looking at?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy against, and this is a fucking crazy hypothetical, but Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy against JD Vance and anybody else. It could be a Democrat that's with JD Vance. Like, that's what I'm saying.
What if it was Bernie?
Else. Yeah, what if it was Bernie and JD Vance?
What the fuck kind of ticket is that? What the fuck kind of ticket is that? Also, I do have to say, I said I was going to do something if Roland started asking hypotheticals.
What the fuck kind of ticket was Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, that ticket.
You know what, questioners? If you ran, bro, that would be crazy. Go ahead and run, brother.
First of all,
I'd
that
vote.
ticket would never. So, but
Yeah,
to
I probably would too. It'd be based ass country, but no.
to answer
Roman,
that point, to answer
I
that
think you
point,
probably would.
to to answer that point, I don't worship any politician, and I would view that as Bernie sold all of his values. So
Bro,
no, I will not vote for that
that's
ticket.
bullshit. That's
No,
bullshit. You definitely
no,
worship Bernie. That's bullshit.
nope, nope. If he sold us out on a bad vote or he goes against all of his principles, no, you see, because the problem is I don't um I don't let my fees determine how I feel about a politician.
Oh, you
I look at the
don't?
record. No,
Are you
no.
sure about that, buddy?
Yeah, 1,000%, bro. Yeah, yeah, yep. Yes, sir. 1,000%.
Okay.
So to
Ronnie, can you make a montage of like any time he starts getting political?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, dude, like there's a million different fucking clips, brother.
okay, no, but listen though, listen though, listen. You are allowed to, in the heat of the moment, feel something. I'm not a robot, but here is the thing. Here is the thing though. If you guys notice, whenever I bring something up,
Ronnie.
generally, I talk with substance. It's not just me saying like, um
You
feelings and
talk with
like,
substance, I talk on substances. That's fine. I get it.
like the point that I'm making is it's not feelings based. When I say things, I I I look at a set of information, right? And I, determine whether someone, just for, example, based off policies, I, determine whether a person's a bad person or a good person. The reason that I like Bernie Sanders is because for all of his time in Washington, he's been consistent. And so
I'll give
if
you
he
that.
were
He
to
has been consistent.
if he were to team up with JD Vance, he would sell out to me all of his values. And so
Why
therefore
would he
I
do
would not
that?
vote for
Why
him.
would he do that? What if the two of them kept their same values and just worked together? Why would he have to sell out his values?
Because you cannot, at least in my eyes, rail against big companies and then
What if
sign
they
on
agreed?
to be on the ticket. You can't be someone who talks about going against like big corporations and then run on the ticket with Peter Thiel's like brainchild.
So every
You
politician ever of all time.
Not true.
Are
Not
you
Bernie.
implying, Roman, that politicians don't lie?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that 99%
I
of them
think
do.
you are.
You just said literally, how could they ever go against what they've been fighting for this entire time? It's very easy. It's called green.
Well, but
Or
that's the whole
victory.
point, though.
Questioners, you take over for a second. Thank you.
Roland
What?
asked me though. Roland
Questioners,
asked
what?
me.
just take over the
Roland-
conversation. That's why I brought you in.
Roland asked me if I would vote for a Bernie Sanders and a JD Vance ticket, and
I
so
would
therefore,
never vote for Bernie Sanders.
okay. But the point that I'm making is
That's a
that I
losing
said
scenario.
no. I said no because, in my eyes, he would sell out everything that he, claims to stand for. That's
So
Well,
then
yeah.
you won't stand for Bernie Sanders.
He
then.
sold everyone out for the millionaires and billionaires because he became a millionaire, and now it became only
Roman,
the
you're
billionaires. Once he
focusing
becomes
on-
a billionaire, he won't be against millionaires and billionaires anymore.
Roman, you are focusing on the Bernie Sanders point, where what I'm saying is your options otherwise are Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy to run the fucking country, bro. That's your
Absolutely.
options.
If you can't run a multi-billion-dollar company, you're not gonna be able to run a multi-trillion-dollar country. You won't be able to do it. There's a lot more moving pieces in a country than there are in a company.
Well,
Indeed.
And they also have monarch-like powers in Disney. They don't have that in the country. So
I understand that, but Roland gave me 2 choices, and he asked me who I would I would vote for.
My point is that even if you don't like JD Vance, at least now he has more experience working on the country and through the economy, the business side of things, whatever the case might be, even the military side of things, way more than Iger and Kennedy will ever have. And that's at least a safer option than just absolute destruction. You don't have to like JD Vance. You don't even have to want to vote for him, but you can obviously look at the two and say one of these is not like the other.
I mean, listen though, to be fair though, experience is not when it comes to Washington, that's not always the best thing. I think we've come to learn.
He's also not working with a politician either right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which is to our benefit, probably, because politicians have been ruining the country for centuries, really. But in this particular instance, you've got a couple options. Is that you have somebody who sees the underbelly of the beast right now and is more or less against it. But I mean, maybe he's not, and he's secretly, one of them. Who knows? But that person who... Nice, Pilgrim. And then
TOS, please.
What, coffee's against terms? But no, like you have you have a country that is being run by a pretty pathetic Congress. You have a country being run by whatever tier level you personally have feelings on for the presidency, and then the judiciary is pretty much a laughing stock. So it's a lose-lose situation no matter how you look at it. But do you want to have one better or worse in your options? Somebody who loses and loses and loses, put them in office so they can lose more, or have somebody in there who's at least somewhat familiar with the blueprint. They may not succeed. Like JD Vance might collapse and destroy everything. Maybe he'd do good. We don't know what he would be like on his own, but we also don't know who he'd pick as a second. We don't know who he'd pick. I mean, he could pick Trump as a second for all we know. But
yeah, he actually could.
He could decide to go.
Oh, dude, that'd be fire. Actually, I'm not even kidding.
Debatable.
No.
Nah,
man. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But it would mostly depend upon what the cabinet would look like.
Give me a second. I'm just saying, in the way that it would just be a like, yeah, fuck you. We can do this.
I mean, that's most of the time.
Constitutionally, he really can't, though. But yeah.
Well, he can't be president. He can be vice president, technically speaking.
The Pilgrim, god damn it. You and your profile picture.
What? It's Thrawn. Don't you guys like Thrawn?
I love
that Thrawn, I don't.
Yeah, not
hashtag not my Thrawn.
Hashtag
not my Thrawn.
Thrawn.
Not my Thrawn.
Hashtag
no, but
not my Thrawn.
I get where you're coming from, questioners. And just to your argument here, I'm just doing what Roland does, and I'm just playing, devil's advocate. I heard a lot of, not in the same way, but I heard a lot of your type of argument in 2016. People were like, Hillary has all of the experience and Donald Trump doesn't. So
she doesn't have the experience in running a country. She has the experience in murdering people.
Let me go. Let me go. Point is,
she excelled quite well at murdering the country.
Yes, my mother twitted my fucking temples.
Let me go. The point is that people made the argument that she had more governmental experience, so therefore she would be the better choice.
What?
I'm just saying, dude, listen. It was a
no, Roman, answer his first question. From what?
What? How does she have any governmental experience whatsoever?
Answer this question before you go on and ask him a secondary question.
Roland, I know you're not talking. First of all, Secondly,
I'm just saying that he asked you a question, so you can't go on and ask him a secondary question.
I want to understand. I want to understand the basis of the people you talk to when
Exactly.
they say she has experience at what?
So,
she was the wife of a politician.
Question.
She didn't do anything.
Let me explain this real quick. He's
like
trying.
Michael, Big Mike.
Roman is trying to understand where you're coming from. So, Roman,
Sure,
allow him to ask you the question, and then you answer the question for questioners. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, we can elaborate on said question.
I mean, hopefully by you answering and me responding to your answer, you can understand more where I'm coming from. But I am genuinely curious who told you this and where they got their sources.
Okay, firstly, it wasn't like anybody that I talked to, because people that were close to me were either for Trump, they were for, Gary Johnson, or they just didn't vote. What I'm talking about is that when I was watching the 2016 election, the mainstream media said that with her experience in, the Senate, and then with her experience as the, Secretary of State, that she was more qualified than Donald Trump was in terms of, governance. So my whole thing is that being in Washington does not really prepare you for the presidency. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because
but you didn't vote for Trump in 2016, buddy.
No.
I mean, I would say I'll agree with you, Roman. Just because you're in Washington does not mean you're experienced in a good way. But if you're in a particular position where it's required of you to make decisions, that's a different story. For example,
also, let me say that I wasn't saying that you should have voted for him. I was just pointing that out. That's all.
But like,
I'm not one way or the other. You guys know that.
So if you look at like JD Vance, being the vice president puts him kind of in charge as like a tiebreaker when it comes to Congress in aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So he's familiar with the workings, or rather the lack of working in Congress. And he's also familiar with working with Trump, aka the presidency. And he gets to see the behind the scenes when it comes to dealing with the military cabinet, when it comes to economic cabinet. He has a direct route to everything. That technically there's things that the first lady, aka Hillary Clinton, back in the 90s, wasn't allowed to have access to. Now, Bill might have told her those things, but probably not. She probably was getting really bored with that kind of stuff. But that's stuff that JD Vance will have direct access to now, that he'll be like, okay, I see how the inner workings of these mechanisms are. Now, whether or not he makes wise decisions is an entirely different story. But we're not going to know what he would do as a president until he becomes president. But at the same time, it is a big if, but that which, at least in the current setup, we're not crashing and burning the entire country immediately. But you know that if you get two failures from Disney and Lucasfilms and pull them into that position, they're already failures. You're going to fail them upwards so they can fail more often. Like, that's just a terrible idea. Just from that,
I mean,
I'd pick a random person on the freaking street to be in office before I pick them.
Failing upwards is very common for Hollywood people, so it would make sense.
I mean, to be fair, Trump was in Hollywood too, so maybe that's how he got there.
that is exactly how he got there. But yeah, no, I mean, no, look, I get what you're saying, and in real life, I'm not gonna, especially if it's Gavin Newsom, I'm not going to vote.
If it's
Democrat,
Gavin Newsom,
but
you're gonna screw everybody.
Okay, Roman, Gavin Newsom versus JD Vance.
Gun to my head, I have to vote.
Gavin Newsom, JD Vance. No, you're
Which one do you hate more is the real question. And if you say JD Vance, you are retarded.
Yeah, you're retarded. I'm sorry.
There's no way anybody likes Gavin Newsom. His own constituents don't like him.
It's not about like, though.
But it is.
It absolutely is. What are you talking about?
for Trump is because you don't like him, not because of his skill or lack thereof. You voted for him or didn't vote for him because you like or don't like him. That's how people vote off those things, because when it comes to issues, people are so wishy-washy. They can say, oh yeah, I'm pro this or anti this, but once they get into office, they don't have to hold to any of that.
Roman, let's be honest here. You know that JD Vance is going to win against Gavin Newsom if there's the two of them.
If he doesn't, we're toast.
Yeah, if he doesn't, we're fucked.
Name one thing California's been like exceptionally good at when it comes to their economy.
I just want to hear what you say. Roman, I want an answer to this question. Gavin Newsom or JD Vance as president?
It's a hypothetical, so you can't be wrong. There you go.
Yes, exactly.
Rolo will get mad at you, though.
No. I won't be mad at you. I'm just saying you have two.
You're gonna go, really? And be like disappointed dad voice.
I may be disappointed. Listen, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Well, first of all,
before you answer, Roman, I got a hypothetical for Rolo.
Okay.
You're gonna be disappointed or mad? Which one are you gonna be?
I don't know what to say, but likely just disappointed.
First of all, as much as I love Roland, I don't care if he's disappointed or not. I really don't.
He's the only father figure in your life. What are you talking about?
That's what. He's a month older than me. He's a month older than me, bro. Okay.
Hey,
that's during the disservice of John Graber.
Doesn't mean he can't be your daddy, but.
Yo, Rolando, shout out. For real, that's a disservice of John Graber.
Who?
You're gonna end up in the shed tonight.
But to answer your question, Roland, gun to my head.
No, there's no gun to your head. You just have to fucking choose. You're at the ballot box.
There's no gun, but you have to choose. That's
no gun.
That's what the metaphorical gun is. You have to choose. There's no other option.
Well, right, but that was my point. That was, what I meant, because
Roman, I
know what you meant, Roman.
So Roman, I create a Halo map, and you're spawned at a ballot box. You have to pick
red versus blue.
Exactly.
Before
let the socialist speak.
You are spawned into a match, and you have to choose.
Before I answer the hypothetical, I just want to put this out there. In real life, I would just vote for third party. But in this hypothetical, I said in real life.
You didn't say in the hypothetical.
But in the hypothetical, with how my views are, I vote Gavin Newsom.
I figured you'd burn it to the ground. Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
I'd rather the entire world burn than let a Republican be in office.
So I just you're running to be on your city council, right?
Doing that to be a contrarian. You've talked shit. Okay, I'm gonna fucking bring this back. All right. There's actual clips of you talking shit on Gavin Newsom from fucking years ago.
But I'm pretty sure he has the same thing.
You are literally just being a contrarian to be a contrarian.
Well, hold on. No. You don't have to be a contrarian to be a contrarian.
It's not contrarian. It's just TDS.
Yeah, no. You would not vote for Gavin Newsom. I know you fucking are not that.
Let's play a game of left or right, and this isn't like actual literal the dynamics.
Go ahead, questioners. You play the game.
It's not the political spectrum. It's
listen,
literally
I'm just saying, it's all you. Go ahead.
That's dangerous.
Go ahead. I know.
Okay, so we're gonna put the two figures of the main four figures, because Bob Iger and Kennedy's that's just an atrocious combination, no matter how you look at it. So you have Gavin Newsom on the left. You've got JD Vance on the right. Now let's go down what they talk about. Which economic policy do you like better?
Economic, Gavin Newsom's.
What is his economic policy?
It's neoliberal corporatism versus
Roman, how's their state doing?
It's literally everything you're against. So I'm confused.
Roman, how is their fucking state doing? And exactly, it's
hold up, Rolo.
Hey,
Rolo,
hey,
I got it.
hey,
I got it.
hey,
I got it.
hey.
I have a
all right. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna let questioners deal with this, and I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. I'll be right back.
He's gonna need to.
Hey. Okay, firstly,
Ronnie, as a Mexican in California, how do you feel about this?
Firstly,
The Mexicans don't like Gavanism.
Firstly, allow me to just say, this is a hypothetical. I don't like Gavin Newsom.
Oh,
I don't want to vote for him.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't want to.
I'm sure. Yes.
I really don't want to.
I'm saying take the person aside. We're only taking their paths and what they're economical, they're political, or otherwise. We're taking just those paths. The person is irrelevant. Sure. Which side do you prefer when it comes to economic policies?
Okay, so I'm not a fan.
And not just I like Vance's or I like Newsom's. I want to know like know what they are because I don't always know what they are.
Sure, right. Okay, so look, we can even, if you want to break it down, not even do Vance and Newsom, just do the Democrat and Republican economic.
We're doing this in an idealistic setting where it's like ideally if it comes down to the grain. These are probably the ideal candidates that both parties will put forward, mostly because the Republicans will put Vance forward because Trump backing, which means a lot of heavy weight behind, and then Newsom because they got nobody else really.
Yeah, which terrifies the hell out of me. Yes, but
it's terrifying when you have very few options available.
But so here's my thing, right? So here would be, to answer your question, here would be the option that I weigh. Do I want trickle down economics or do I want neoliberal economics, which offers very little in change?
What do you define trickle down economics and neoliberal economics? How do you define each of those?
Okay, so neoliberal economics is basically like we're going to keep the same economic structure that has been in place for hundreds of years, but we're just going to throw little like tweaks in there to make it look like they're doing changes. Like for like a perfect example of this, Obamacare's a great one. That was a little tweak that they did to make it look like they were doing change. But basically, the neoliberal view is let's just keep the economic status that we have now, right? But we maybe raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28% and look like we're doing more to help people. What trickle down economics is that in practice, basically, a very few amount of wealthy people sop up all of the middle class's wealth and then leave very little for the rest of us without any substantive change.
Okay, question. Where does wealth come from?
Wealth is created by jobs. It's created by the market and such.
Sure, but let's say the big corporations there. Where are all the jobs?
Well, they're working for the big corporation, obviously.
Yes, but the big corporation's not there because they don't want to be taxed all the freaking money in the world. Where are all the jobs?
Well, they're not being taxed in a neoliberal world. That's kind of my point.
Corporations are not being taxed in the neoliberal. You just said they went from 21% to 28%.
Yeah. That's nothing to them. That's
That's increasingly more than what they would if they weren't in that state.
Right, but the point that I'm making is like just for example, Congressman Ro Khanna introduced a bill that would raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 75. Okay, so 21 to 28 is nothing. It's
compared
nothing,
to 75. Okay? I agree, But my point is that because that increment only goes up. Here's the thing about taxes: they never go down.
That's true.
Ever. They never go down. Your interest rates only go up. They never go down.
That's true.
And the value of the dollar only ever goes down. It never goes up.
Right.
So the more money you make, but at a lesser value, keeps you literally at the same place as if you never devalue the dollar and you never increase taxes. It's just going in reverse. We're going the Brazilian path where you could have $1 billion, but it's like equivalent to $10 in America.
Well,
or as we like to say, Brazilian. I have Brazilian dollars.
Well, I mean, just let me give you another
Brazilian dollars.
Not Brazilian doll hairs, you freaking weirdo.
Let me just give you another example. This is actually from the previous administration. So the corporate tax rate when Biden went into office was 22%. He raised it to 30%. And when it came to the corporations, there wasn't really much change. They stayed here. Now, if it was like 50 to 60%, they would have left. So the point that I'm making to your point is
you're talking federally, though. I'm not talking federally.
Oh,
I'm talking state-wise. Like the area that Gavin Newsom's in, what he would affect, like his area. So California, he implements policies in California.
Correct. Yes.
Those policies do what? How do you understand them?
His policies do not his policies do not positively help people.
Well, they do help people, just not the working people.
No. Okay. He helps his rich donors. He helps his rich donors is basically who he
also helps the meth zombies in the streets of San Francisco.
Yo, can you look up the recent thing with Gavin Newsom where he just like made a fuck ton of money off of, like, he just vetoed a bill? Can you look up Gavin Newsom vetoes bill?
For what?
Look it up. Just look up Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom.
Which one?
It just came out. He just vetoed a bill where they were going to look into the tax fraud in California.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Now here's a question. Here's a question for you about Newsom being a governor, because a governor is a mini presidency. So if you have a governor and you see how they do where they're governing, you can have an idea more or less what they're going to be like in a countrywide or a nationwide position of power. So if Newsom, like when the fires were happening and people were asking for help and assistance and he was saying nothing, he didn't ask for any help from anybody. He didn't do anything particularly to go out of his way to actually get anybody any resources they needed. Not very much happened to really benefit, well, quite bluntly, anyone except himself. And his own people were like, why aren't you helping us? Why are you running away? And he would constantly run away from conversations, any type of conflict. Now imagine if there's a nation, like he's in charge of the entire nation, and the nation's in trouble because, I don't know, China's invading. And people are saying, hey, President Newsom, are you going to send help for us? He'll just run away from your conversation because it's conflict and he's uncomfortable because he might look bad. Is that somebody you want to have in office?
Would I want? No. I wouldn't want that person.
Now, take that to, say, like JD Vance, who's probably considered more military minded in terms of considering the business he's in and all that jazz. If he's like, oh, we're being invaded by the Chinese, what do you think his reaction would be to that? Do you think he would run away from a conversation? Do you think he'd put troops on the ground? What do you think he would do? Based off of his historical ventures, not just made up in the air, like based off of what you know of him and how he's reacted in terms of a conference or something where a press conference where he goes out and says, here's what we're going to do for X, Y, and Z. How do you think he would behave?
I mean, he would probably do some sort of action. What action? I don't know, but he probably would do some sort of action.
You think he would like, we're gonna wipe the frickers out of our nation. We're gonna just completely just destroy them. We're gonna annihilate them with pure prejudice. And then we're gonna go after their mainland, and we're probably gonna wipe out the CCP if we can. Do you think he would do that, or do you think he's gonna be like, we'll isolate them to a small area and let them just sit there? Like, what do you think he would do? Like, what do you think a reasonable person in Vance's particular field would be?
I mean, he'd probably go after China and try to wipe out like every last one of them.
So which is better?
Probably
avoiding conflict and running away from people asking for help, or somebody actually going out there wiping people out?
Well, I actually want to say that I genuinely do think that Gavin Newsom would do what Raytheon tells him. And so I actually don't know if he would run
I don't know who Raytheon is,
conflict. Raytheon is a military contractor, and he takes millions of dollars every year from Raytheon. So I think actually if he was in that situation,
Raytheon's not going to be big enough to freaking turn away China. There's no freaking way.
But you're not getting my point, though. The military industrial complex would tell him to go after China, so he probably would, just for that sense.
Potentially. But if he's taking money and somebody accuses of him and they investigate it and they do a full impeachment and possibly beyond impeachment,
sure,
like
right.
it's much more dangerous to be in the presidency seat and do illegal things than to be a governor and do illegal things. Just like it's a big jump in difference of how things operate. Like treason comes a lot harder because it affects the entire country versus you in your own little box on the side of the coast.
Sure, but to kind of amend my answer, though, I do think that Gavin Newsom would listen to what the military and industrial complex tells him, and if they tell him to go after China, he would do it. Just because they pay his bills. That is my real honest view on that. So,
and I don't think it's necessarily a wrong view. I think that if he's getting paid by somebody like that, he'll probably take their money and do whatever they say. But here's the thing. So. Our generals will also be aware of this.
True.
Like they're not, the generals are going to be like, yeah, we need to do it this way. And he's like, well, I think we should do it this way. And they're going to look at him like, that's a terrible idea. Well, but the industrial or military industrial complex, I mean, my donors, I mean, I think it's a great plan. It's not going to work very well. Like at the moment of tension, the generals will do what they're told to do because that's how chain of command works. But they're also going to, like, if they're ever questioned outside or by the next president that's not Newsom, they're going to be like, yeah, we were told to do some really stupid things. And then it was like, well, why would that be? And it's like, they'd probably, I mean, they may know, but they may not know about his donor status or whatever. But the odds are he's not military inclined. If he can't handle a freaking fire, he's not going to be able to handle a military wave of fire.
Okay, well, it all goes back to the question at the whole start of this. Roland asked me who I would prefer. And
sure, so but I mean, all we were talking about was the breakdowns of like each of underneath each of these types of figures, like figure out their policies and then remove the figures. Just the policies. You got your military policy. We see historically how each of them deal with some sort of a conflict. It doesn't have to necessarily be military because obviously California's not exactly pulling out guns and taking over countries, but they really don't have guns for that matter. But and then you have. You're going to say you're going to interrupt? Yeah, that's what you did.
No, I was going to say.
You're going to say what?
They don't have guns in California.
You mean,
so,
like,
and from the opposite side, JD Vance is very pro Second Amendment. So they're complete opposites in that regard. So like your rights, they treat them differently. So one side has guns rights and military security. The other one is, in your estimation, whatever the military industrial complex says to do. Right. So
I do
that's
think
not exactly the greatest behavior you want in a leader.
I get that, but also though, you have to think about it in this way, and this is factually proven. You can go onto you can go on to Open Secrets, who does a really great job in tracking all like donor money and such. JD Vance also gets money from the military industrial complex too, so he may act in the
Pretty
same
sure
way
he
that
has a
Gavin Newsom does.
business in the military industrial complex, so that makes sense. He also
Well,
has a lot
right,
of
but,
friends
like
in those industries. Yeah.
right,
I think he's a
so
board member on one of them or something. But yeah.
right, so but that's what I'm saying though. They may have the same overall
Yeah, but I'm not
decision.
talking like, okay, let's assume both of them have ties to the military industrial complex. Where does this change? Well, it means that one is going to run away from conflict unless told otherwise by people who pay him money, but not at the voice of his constituents. The other one is like, well, I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm pro us being free from outward influence. I also have ties to the military industry or industrial complex, but I also don't want other people invading our country. Like, one has an assertive behavior, one has a reclusive behavior.
Yeah,
so which one of those is good for a military mindset? Well, usually assertive.
Good for a military mindset's assertive, sure, yes. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like the mindset of these two sides are going to be what, like, because again, that it doesn't have to be Newsom. It doesn't have to be like, assuming whoever was in those positions had the same as those characters. It doesn't matter who they are. Just assume they're both in the military industrial complex's pocket. Let's assume they both have it, but we know how they behave historically. One runs away and flees. One goes and says, I want to take care of this. I want to get rid of this. Right? Like, how long do you think under Newsom it would take to take out what's his face down in Venezuela? How long do you think that would be? Would that turn into 21 years like George Bush freaking did? Or not 21, like whatever, ridiculous amount of time. Do you think it would take 3 days? That's the real question. Maduro.
No, it would take like I don't know, 8 years, 10 years.
Okay,
probably somewhere around there.
So then you have the historical behavior that at least Vance has participated in, and it took 3 days. In and out, no casualties on our side. Is that not preferred as assertive action? Like they jumped at
not a single casualty on our side.
Not a single casualty.
Don't seem upset.
We actually made a huge economic bump out of it because of all of like there's 16 trillion things of, or is it 6 trillion or 16 trillion gas or something out of this? Like, it helped us economically and was also not even a freaking war. It was a freaking raid. We just popped in, popped out, and get the frick out of Dodge. That was all it took. So we benefited for the speed. We didn't get pulled into a long, drawn-out war. We benefited economically because we got economic powerhouse, aka oil, out of it. Do you think Gavin Newsom's doing any of that? Like, I don't see any of his historical economic policies as something that was going to gain them a lot of resources economically. The only thing I've ever seen him do is pull more and more taxes and spend. And not usually on good things.
So actually to just quickly just to clarify a point that you made, we actually just gave Venezuela back all of the money that we had gotten from them. Just wanted to point that out.
We didn't. I don't know how much money we got from them, but we got actual oil. Not money for oil. We got actual oil.
Right, but we also seized funds from. Oh, you're talking about the oil, right? Yeah.
Oil's more valuable than money because oil has an actual money value that is steady, where unlike our dollar is not very steady.
Right. But then to kind of answer your question, I think that Gavin Newsom would do what the military industrial complex tells him to, and if they tell him you're going to invade, just say for example you're gonna invade Canada and we want it done in 48 hours, he's going to do it.
He wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be possible.
I'm just
he doesn't have the brain capacity for that.
They would never have him do it in a time limit because it's more
Wait, who
profitable
said
the
that?
longer it's run out.
Was that
The
Crimson?
longer. No, that was Pilgrim.
That was me.
Crimson hasn't been in here since practically I got here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Because
He left because you started the hypotheticals. He's like, I remember what I said about hypotheticals, and he dipped.
Right. No, but I'm saying.
But hold on. Why would Gavin Newsom getting his paycheck from the military-industrial complex? The military-industrial complex isn't going to say do it in 48 hours. They're going to say take all the freaking time you need because they make more money that way.
That was a bad example, but
which also turns around and flips on the Vance side because he obviously didn't listen to the military-industrial complex if he did it in 3 days.
Well, I mean, it wasn't him though. It was Trump that did it, but yeah.
What do you think Trump just ignores Vance entirely on his ideas, considering he has ties to the freaking military-industrial complex areas? Technology, possible strategies. You don't think he has any access to any of that?
I'm not saying that he doesn't have access. I kind of do think that Trump kind of, in the same way that Biden did, probably didn't listen to a whole lot of people. He kind of
no, I think he's smart enough to listen to people. His first term was pretty much a nightmare because he surrounded himself with people he thought were going to help him, and then none of them did. And then the second term, he's like, no, we're scrapping all this. I have a preset cabinet before I even take office or before the votes were even cast. Yeah, as soon as I win, I'm putting people I know, I trust into positions of power. And then boom, that's what he did. So this time he comes around saying, I have all the players already on my side or in my pocket, so to speak, not literally like paying them, but like they're on his side. They're with his team. They're not secretly playing for the other side. So his first term and his second term were very different in terms of what his cabinet looked like. So I don't think he doesn't listen to anybody because any wise person in a position of power would listen to somebody. It's just who you listen to. Kind of like how we talked about your town hall run or something. It's who you surround yourself with. Who do you trust? Who shares your ambition or your goals? That's how you find it out. So you could say, oh, well, maybe Trump has himself ties to the military-industrial complex. But just being in a war does not mean it's beneficial for them. Because it could mean that during peacetime, they can produce more technology. And then when it's wartime, they produce more output of manpower or that technology through manufacturing. Because peacetime is still valuable for any war group because a war group has to recover whatever they lose from the prior war. And this has been this way since history way back in y'all olden days, like Egypt and Hittites and everything. Like you can't just fling endless manpower. It doesn't exist. You're going to run out. Endless resources of drones, tanks, all that kind of stuff, missiles, everything is going to run out eventually. So you have to take time to rebuild that. So during peacetime, they slowly rebuild that and recoup that. They recruit people for when the next possible war happens. Well, was China ready to pop at any moment? Russia potentially ready to pop at any moment? More likely to be China. North Korea trying to flex so freaking hard and never really succeeding. There's plenty of people. Man. There's plenty of people available that could pop at any moment. And if the military-industrial complex is just wasting their resources at every possible opportunity to make a quick buck, when the big fan gets hit, they're not going to be ready to make that moolah. So you can't just mindlessly jump into every possible war at every possible turn. Because from a business perspective and a standpoint, it requires you to pay attention to these details and say, well, our military analysts have said, well, if we take this percentage of our company and put it towards this war, are we going to have enough if another war pops up? Are we going to make more in this war than we would in this war if it pops up? Like they have to keep an eye on these things because once you're in a contract, you can't pull out of that contract. Indeed. So you're not gonna be like, oh, we're going to dedicate all this stuff to South America and then China explodes. It's like, well, we just dedicated 80% of our forces to freaking, South America. We have 20% at most. Do we even risk that 20% to go over there and potentially not be as effective as if we had swapped it with 20% to 80% with South America and have 80% for China? What are our values going to be? because they have bean counters. You can guarantee they have bean counters. They're looking, well, if we do this, how much can we make from this? And if we make this technology, how can we do this? And like they have all that. Like every company should have a brainstorming team.
They're frothing at the mouth to go to war with Iran. I just know that they are.
At this point, Iran might take care of itself if we're lucky. But
I'm just saying they.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. They want that so badly.
If we go to war with Iran, that will trigger Russia. That will trigger China. That will trigger everybody.
Russia at this moment.
And if we think about it from this perspective, just because World War III happens does not mean the American military complex is going to be on the winning side.
Oh, I know.
So you don't want to needlessly kick off World War III. You want to strategically hit points and say, okay, well, we took out this target that's a threat. Now, if a military industrial complex can destabilize or neutralize the problem that is Iran without ever actually setting foot there, like we don't actually military go there, but the problem takes, like say for example the civil war that they're looking like they're going to have because all the women and all the people who support the women.
Yep.
If they overthrow Iran themselves, that's huge. Or as Trump say, huge. But huge, absolutely huge, about equal. But
look at awesome, it's really big.
Look at that, it's really big. I tell you. Anyway, I don't do Trump very well. But anyway, if you have that, then you're looking at this perspective in a way as like,
you know what I was talking about.
The industrial complex could say, well, we're going to sit back completely and just make technology and sell it to the government's military specifically. They could do that, but that's not as profitable as putting boots on the ground.
Right. I mean,
it's cheaper for the mercs to go, but the mercs are also hardened veterans and stuff. Like they're going to go in and hit things hard and quick. They're not going to want a drawn out war. No boots on the ground wants a drawn out war. Nobody does, because it means less likely chance of them getting home, which means all that money they're earning on the war path means they're probably not going to be earning that money because they'll never actually get to see it because they'll be dead before then. The longer it draws out.
I mean, kind of to your point, they've made tens of billions of dollars off of the Ukraine war, and we haven't we have not officially put a boot on the ground there, but they have made billions in the
you can
Ukraine
thank
war.
A particular side of the aisle's thought process for that one.
But yeah, we've kept it going though. It was supposed to end on day one. Remember?
We did stop sending the money. We did do that with a different side.
We've sent them money. What are you talking about?
No. We stopped sending them money.
No. In the Israel packages, we sent Ukraine money too. You didn't know that?
I'm not particularly familiar with those packages, no. But even if that was the case, it definitely wasn't 40 billion slots.
No, it was a couple billion. But
that's the big difference.
Right.
Either way, we shouldn't be sending them anything.
Agreed.
It's not our job. It's not our job to do that. But who started paying them the money?
Israel.
Obviously, it was Joe.
It wasn't Israel. Israel doesn't care about Ukraine. What are you on about?
Who was a conspiracy theorist? No, it was Joe Biden, obviously. Yeah, of course.
There you go. And he's more aligned to who's out of the two options we have so far. Who's he more aligned with, economically speaking?
Well, he's obviously on the neo-liberal side. Obviously,
I was like, "Don't you dare say Vance."
No.
It's like even you're not that stupid, Roman. Come on.
No, dude. I have basic thought comprehension sometimes. No, but
just not when it comes to who you vote for, apparently.
No.
Okay.
Look,
how about this? What would be a peacetime? Because technically speaking, peacetime's the best boom. Like you can get an immediate boom when a war is going on, but long term, it's not going to last. Because the booms, it's a boom because it's supposed to explode and then it's done. It's not supposed to be. It's not a boom. Just keep going. It's a boom. It pops, And that's kind of what happened with World War II. Is like we boomed in our industrial aspects because we had to pump out a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
But afterwards, there was no way for us to keep that going at that level. We had to tone it down a bit because, well, what are you going to produce now? And we should have gone back to agricultural, but they didn't. And that caused a whole lot of other problems. But the point is that when it comes to economical aspects, peace is technically more valuable because then you can go into trade with literally anybody because they're not all your enemies. If you split the world in half, that means you lose half of your customers. Not so great for trade. And then at that point, if we go around throwing our weight saying we're the world superpower, well, what if we piss off everybody through a war to everybody sides up against us and we have no trading partners then? Well, that's not good either. So,
no,
I mean, we'd still win, but it wouldn't be pretty.
No, I mean, you're not wrong, and I think that's what's wrong with the liberal mindset. And I'm not talking about like the liberal people.
Yo, no, I want to hear what you have to say about the liberal mindset.
Well, he already talked about it earlier, a little bit anyway. But I did like where was it? Oh yeah. So Muffler had put manage, decline, extract from the system equals Gavin. So basically that's the simple thing is that there's a problem. Let's kick the can down the road a little bit further. So that's essentially the liberal mindset for it. And that's the annoying part is because that means they're not doing anything because they're more concerned with people voting for them than they are with fixing their problem.
Exactly that.
That's the problem.
And then more focused on social issues.
Well, yeah, they want virtue signal points for working on social issues, not over actual economic problems and whatnot. And economic problems being fixed brings prosperity to everybody. At least everybody that tries. We'll put it that way. Doesn't benefit people who don't do anything.
Like all the
meth zombies, yes.
I was gonna go black people, but yeah, meth zombies too.
Dude, chill.
Oh my God.
Chill, please chill. Please.
Every culture has their problems. Everybody has them. Now, okay. I would say more about the neoliberal mindset. I would say that's been as of late more of a uniparty thing. Republicans are pretty much no better than Democrats at this point. Like they're Republicrats and Demopublicans, whatever you call them. Like, I don't know even how the term would work, but
I don't either.
That's essentially what they are. Essentially, yes. Now there are obvious standouts and whatnot, but they never get enough actual like support to become a thing because here's the problem, and I'm going to sound like the crazy one because I don't think every person should vote, and there's a reason for that. Is because not every person is well. Not every person is well informed. I think you should
do an IQ test.
Not even an IQ test. I think you need to explain to like if you treated everyone as like a dad does their kids, and you explain things to them like a dad does with their kids, and you probably have seen this meme go around and about multiple ways, but every time like the dad takes the kids out to go get ice cream and then he takes 1/3 of their ice cream out of a bite of it, and it's like that's what taxation's like, and you just watch those kids be so upset about it. It's like, yes, that's why we don't want taxes. Like, that's the idea is when you explain something, like if you go to somebody's house and say, I'm taking 1/3 of your house, like I'm cutting 1/3 of it, I'm sawing it out and I'm taking it with me, and you only have 2/3 of your house now, you're gonna be like, that's what it's like to own property with the government, but yearly. Like it's like no one's going to be fond of that idea, but you have to hit that point home that it's gonna suck. It's always gonna suck when the government has more power, so you have to reduce that power. But you also have to think about it from a logical perspective, in which who is taking like the biggest hit based off of what voters go for. You know, Roman?
I'm sorry. I was was actually looking at something else. What I was trying to find something that kind of
who takes the largest hit, economically speaking, when something is voted in as an option. Like, so the people have spoken, they want XYZ. Who takes the largest hit? There's 2 categories specifically that take the largest hit.
Well, if the policy is are we talking about a policy being passed or like a person being
we're talking
being
people vote for either a particular thing themselves, if it's an actual like city vote, like county vote or whatever, or they're voting a politician that will push the particular thing they want to push.
Well, the people that
like
take
something
the hit
something is getting passed. Who takes the greatest hit?
Probably the constituents.
There's 2 categories. Well, obviously the constituents always lose. That's the whole point. That's the joke. But no, there's 2 categories of constituents that lose more than every other category. I'll give you a hint. They're the historical ones who are allowed to vote.
The white landowning people?
No, there's no racial boundaries for this.
Well, you said historically, the ones that were allowed to vote.
Historically, yes. The voting guidelines were not racially based at all. Now, they might be societally, or you might think the transatlantic slave based. That could be, but not every person was a slave either.
Okay, then the people that had land that had some substance of capital. Yes.
Landowners were one of those 2 categories. Who's the other one?
You got me beat.
The business owners.
Business owners.
Because put it this way, if you start your business, like let's say you want to do a business, what business would you go into if you could do your own business?
No, I would definitely do it. I would do a comic book shop for sure.
A lollipop shop,
1000%.
Lollipop Guild,
a comic book shop.
Okay,
screw you.
Are you gonna call it the Lollipop Guild?
You know what? To spite you, yes.
Yeah, it won't spite me at all. Despite popular opinion, I am actually really apathetic towards pretty much everything. You can do what you want.
Fair enough.
So, okay, you start a comic book shop. Then you find out that they're going to vote so hard in a particular direction that it's going to destroy the entire comic book industry. Now what?
I'm screwed.
Yes! Welcome to the rest of America. So, okay. So if you have, Rolando's like, you mean a manga shop? That's actually true. Comics don't make money anymore.
Fucking facts.
Now you could technically do both because they're both readable stuff. I'd say both would be a safe bet. Just don't invest too much into comics until they get better,
dude. Like,
or stick with the classics.
Slightly related. I saw that the Absolute Batman comic got its 11th variant today. Why the fuck is it getting 11 variants?
I don't keep up with comics, so I don't know. Last time I read a comic was freaking Dark Horse Star Wars.
Yeah,
Dark Horse Star Wars is fucking awesome, dude. I still have them.
I need to get my hands on the Crimson Empire trilogy. They have a hardback of it for like $75. I gotta find it and also have money for it. But that Kyrkanos is my favorite Star Wars character of all time. And then the second was Mara Jade. Mara Jade series was freaking great. She's also the hottest character in Star Wars.
Yes,
but
she would.
Who wouldn't? She's a redhead in a freaking bodysuit with freaking force abilities. Yeah.
So
who wouldn't?
I wanted to.
You know what? Her and Talon, bro. It's her and Talon.
I'm not familiar with Talon.
You're not familiar with Talon?
I didn't read comics.